Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. Terrence Crawford out here treating Canelo like Earl Spence. That's right. He has studied Canelo for 2 years in the shadows. Just like he studied Earl Spence for several years. Knew everything Spence did good, everything he did bad, and Crawford knew exactly what he had to do to achieve a victory over Earl Spence. Now let me tell you something. The same way Terrence Crawford, or like in Saudi how they say, Omaha o Akbud, same way he sat there and studied Earl Spence and was able to dismantle him, same way he studied Canelo. And I think he may end up dismantling Canelo. Won't be easy, because this sure as hell isn't Earl Spence that Canelo's getting in the ring with. Also, the ring, it looks like it's going to be 18 by 18. That shit could be a problem for Crawford. But that being said, man, when you get a guy who's watching, studying, and a guy like Bud who knows boxing, they tend to enter that fight with a lot of confidence. And that's why I think Crawford is the A side, although Canelo's getting paid more. But I think Canelo is the prey, and Crawford is the hunter. And the hunter is returning. But this time to be the king of 168 pounds. Y'all understand what I'm saying? Canelo is not hunting Crawford. Canelo was just out there under green pastures, eating grass. He's a herbivore. Canelo used to be a lion in the jungle. He used to roar. Then the roar turned him meow into a pussycat. And then the last 4 or 5 fights, he'd been a cow. Fat, rich, out there in the pasture, eating grass. But not Crawford. He that lion in the jungle, hungry. He hungry as shit. Jogging, walking. Big, dirty-ass mane. Might as well call it an afro, because some of them lions like, so yeah, Crawford fits the description. Big-ass lion afro. Just out there, looking for something to eat. See a gazelle, chomp his ass up. Keep moving. See something over an antelope, chomp his ass up. See a wild boar, chomp his ass up. And then he said, you know what, man? Time for this lion. I want to be king of the jungle. Where's that old lion that turned to a pussycat, that now turned into a cow, become lazy, eating that grass, no longer have a thirst for blood? I'm going to go over there, chomp his ass up, and I'm going to become king of the jungle. And that's Crawford in a nutshell, and what's going on between he and Canelo, and who's going to be the king of the ring. And I'm just telling you, Canelo need to be careful, because the hunter has returned. Now, understand this, with Terrence Crawford, I think he's got to have a bit of an obsession with certain fighters, you know. With Earl Spence, you could tell Crawford was just, again, out there roaming the jungle, not getting the fights he wants, not getting the meals he wanted, because, you know, he wanted to eat everybody. He wasn't getting the meals he wanted. He said, man, I'm a carnivore. I got a thirst for blood. God damn it. Y'all throw me a little rabbit here, a little porter here. Throw me a little Amir Khan here, a little Kelbrook here. But I want a Keith Thurman. I want the Danny Garcias. I want these guys. Couldn't get them. So, got Spence. Now he's going after Canelo. And let me tell you something. Right after he beat Earl Spence, man, Crawford was still at 147. He immediately turned his eyes to the mountaintop and said, you know what? What can I do to top this? Because remember, everybody had Earl Spence pegged to go up and fight Canelo and beat Canelo. Remember what they were saying? Earl Spence is huge. Earl Spence is big. He's strong. Even Earl Spence, yeah, man, I can fight Canelo at 168. Yeah, man. Oh, no, he can't. Maybe Earl Spence before the car accident, but we just got to be fair to Earl Spence. He went through a lot. I can't even make jokes about that. He went through a lot. So, but Crawford, he clipped the man who's supposed to go up and at least try to beat the man, and Canelo. But now you see him and Canelo about to scrap. and an undisputed, iconic, and what I think is a beatable battle. Either one can lose. So it's for undisputed, it's iconic, and I think the perfect adjective to describe this fight is beatable. Both of them are beatable, but I just tend to have a feeling with Crawford studying Canelo's fights. I mean, it's easy. He looked at the Bivol fight. Anyone could see what happened in that Bivol fight. Although it wasn't an 18 by 18 ring, Bivol outboxed him. Bivol had longer arms, strong combinations. Canelo was trying to punch him in the arms, thinking he'd bring the arms down. Did he hurt Bivol's arms? Yeah, but he didn't do enough to make Bivol wilt. Bivol just anything. He turned Canelo and unloaded on him. Canelo took a lot of shots from Dimitri Bivol. And you could just see throughout the fight, if Canelo was a balloon, you could just see the air slowly but surely just being released. Canelo went from being inflated with confidence to being deflated and hopeless. Bivol did that. So Crawford studying Bivol, he's saying, oh shit, I can perform like that. Now, I'm not saying Crawford and Bivol, because Bivol is much bigger than Crawford, but as far as skill set, Crawford can perform like that. And then you look at Golovkin. You know, Golovkin put pressure on Canelo. Golovkin was a much harder hitter. But you could see that in that fight, if you're hitting Canelo, back then, he more or less would go full defense. He will at times try to, slip, counter, make you pay. But for the most part, if you hit Canelo, he stops throwing punches. Simple. And you look at Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant only has one hand. Simple. He's just a left-handed fighter. Jab, jab, hook, no right hand. The right hand, he might as well be, again, a one-arm fighter. It's like having a... So for those of you who are saying, nah, man, Plant is an outstanding fighter. I agree. But how far can a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest go? He can get pretty far. But what happens when the one leg is no longer working? What happens when the one leg gets tired? You know what I'm saying? What happens if the one leg gets strained or he sprains an ankle in that foot? The one-legged man in the ass-kicking contest is not so effective. And that's Caleb Plant in a nutshell. He's a one-arm fighter, very, very effective until the one arm isn't working and he's to rely on that dead arm, which to me is a throwaway arm because it brings nothing to the table. But you look at that, Plant was able to use speed, angles, movement to get the upper hand over Canelo early in the fight. But Canelo just kept applying the pressure, and eventually, man, pressure bursts pipes. He was able to get the victory over Caleb Plant. And then with Jermell Charlo. Charlo thought about fighting Canelo, but he got hit with one of them Guadalajara, Jalisco bing bings. And Charlo was like, feet don't fail me now. Batty, batty, batty. And he flew his ass all around the ring. And Canelo was trying to get to him, but, Charlo just didn't want to go out, chest to canvas, ass in the air, looking crazy. And kind of understandable, but also a letdown because I just think he should have fought harder, but I understand. You live to fight another day. He got paid. That was the first real Tom and Jerry type fight we saw. I'm sure Turkey Al-Sheikh was glad he didn't have his money on that. But Crawford also has gone on, in addition to mentioning those fights, right? He's noted Canelo's tendency to fade later in the rounds. Now, that's an observation we've all made, even the Canelo fans. Remember, I'm not biased to either one. I don't care who wins. I just sit here and just try to give analysis, you know what I mean? One day I may speak pro Canelo, one day I may speak pro Crawford. I'm a pot stirrer, you know what I'm saying? So don't come out here like, screw you, a champion, you just want Canelo to lose. No. In one video, I may say, Viva Mexico, cabrones. The next video, I may talk about Crawford, say, Viva El Negro. So everybody should be saying, Viva Hood Champion, because Hood Champion don't give a shit. But one thing that Crawford gives a crap about is the fact that he knows his conditioning and stamina is far superb to Canelo's. And I just think as the longer the fight goes on, especially if Canelo can't really catch up to Crawford the way I'm thinking he may in the 18 by 18 ring, Canelo start fading in them late rounds with them flat feet. I'm telling you, man, he is going to struggle with Crawford's movement and volume. Y'all saying Crawford don't throw a high volume of punches? Yeah, well, look at how he performed against Majimov. Crawford threw more shots than he needed, than we're used to seeing him throw to make sure he nullified the pressure fighter. And the pressure fighter respected that power. That's why Majimov wasn't just trying to run in on him. I do recognize that Majimov landed that right hand a couple times successively. And if Canelo can get the right hand off, especially with them flat feet, and get some leverage behind it, Crawford's ass could be in trouble. Especially if Canelo hits him once, boom, and kind of buzzes him, then comes back again, boom, and buzz him again. If he gets to land a third one like Madrimov did against Bud Crawford, Crawford ass may be out for the count. But again, I just can't see Bud getting hit with successive right hands against Canelo. But at 18 by 18 ring, anything can happen. At the end of the day, Canelo struggles with movement and he struggles with volume. So those are things that play to Terence Crawford's advantage. Just like with Earl Spence. Earl Spence didn't know what to do with Crawford when it came to that movement, with the punch selection, the volume of punches, punching in combination, swivel jab, timing, the reach deficit. Earl Spence didn't have answers. Earl Spence stepped to Crawford in the first round like he normally does to anyone, and he got the bing bings put on him. So I'm just saying it could be interesting, but just like with Spence, Crawford's team compiled hours of footage. Y'all gotta put see, people keep talking about Crawford, but what about his team? His team, man. He has an amazing outfit. And that outfit that Crawford has, they make sure to do their homework so that Terence Crawford is really positioned for success. And I'm just telling you, man, when it comes to Terence Crawford, man, and his team breaking down Canelo's patterns, understanding Canelo's punch sequences, and those defensive lapses, that's going to be a problem because Crawford's going to be watching Canelo, going to be seeing everything. And for those of you saying, well, what about Eddie Reynoso? Eddie Reynoso, you're not speaking positively about Reynoso. And listen, man, flip Reynoso. I don't even want to hear that dude's name. The fact that he came out and said what he said, I don't know. I just said, I get a fighter. I just train him. I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't see nothing. I don't hear nothing. I don't smell nothing. I don't taste nothing. I don't touch nothing. I don't. That man is sitting there, man, is talking about deflecting. So, man, forget Reynoso. Ass deflecting like hell, leaving his people out in the breeze. So I don't respect him, man. But I tell you what, Reynoso, he not putting together no game plan the way Terence Crawford team is. So again, I got to give the edge to Terence Crawford's team, preparing him when he gets in that ring to be able to recognize everything Canelo's doing and be a step ahead. So, it is what it is. And then when you listen to things Crawford said, and I'm going to quote him right now, he said, I've been watching him. I know what he does and when he's tired. I know what he does when he's frustrated. I know Canelo, and y'all are going to be surprised. And when he says that, I truly believe that he's being as real as possible with us, the fans, because Crawford's not just going to throw some shit to the wall to see if it sticks. He really has studied Canelo. He really has. So as far as, Canelo and being a rhythm fighter and Crawford, look, he's a rhythm breaker, man. He breaks people up with that jab, with the timing, upstairs, downstairs. Crawford does everything great. And Canelo's great with what he does, but Canelo has gone from doing a lot of great things to just seeing what is the most effective for him and sticking solely to that. But I just think when it comes to Crawford, man, switching stances, I just think mid-round, if the fight gets there, I think it's just going to, create issues for Canelo's timing. I also think the lateral movement, I think the feints, I think the volume punching can keep Canelo guessing. Canelo is looking to throw one punch. Canelo's not looking to throw 10 punches. He's looking to throw the one punch. And if Crawford starts timing him and countering him, Canelo is not going to let his hands go as much. Because when you hit Canelo, he turns into a mannequin. Canelo eat his shit in the ring. He mummified, you know what I'm saying? So y'all can say what you want. But you better believe Canelo may have a Bivol flashback when Crawford starts punching in combination, man, and then pivoting out before Canelo can counter. Canelo going to be looking in there talking about, ¿Qué pasó aquí? What's happening here? Because Crawford going to be putting them bing bings on him, man. But the bottom line is for Canelo, if he wants a chance in this fight, the power means nothing. But he's going to have to plant his feet to really get his shots off, to get them power shots off. I just don't think Crawford's going to allow him to plant his feet and get going unless Canelo can just land one of them shots from the gods and hit Bud right on his Omaha, Nebraska chin, and have Crawford in there looking crazy. But we just gotta wait and see, because same way I'm here laughing and smiling, Crawford's laughing and smiling at the press conferences. Canelo looked tense and nervous. I already talked about this. You see, it's Crawford's not just fighting. You see, it's something to understand here. Crawford's not just fighting Canelo's power, his fist. Canelo has ego. You hear Canelo telling these fighters, yes, you will see. He is good, but he is not Canelo. Canelo this talking. He sound like Miguel Cotto, third person and shit. So Canelo has bought into his own hype, and I'm telling you, Canelo is the face of boxing. Okay, he is. But when I started hearing that, those are bad signs. So in my opinion, when you look at Crawford being calm, see him confident, even being playful, a bit jovial, and then Canelo just looking like unsettled, even coming out here saying, I know Turkey is in your corner. Crawford just smiles, because that's just giving Crawford the upper hand. He knows the pressure. Crawford knows. They done baited Canelo into a fight to where Canelo's got to win. Crawford don't have to do shit. He ain't supposed to win. He gonna make $100 million. If he has a loss on his record, everybody gonna say he was supposed to lose that fight anyway. Crawford sails off into the sunset. Hey, I tried. Just like Canelo, he tried to fight Bivol, pick up a title. Hey, I tried. I dared to be great. I lost. Canelo can't lose to Crawford. All of that success Canelo's had in boxing, that shit goes down the tubes if he loses to Bud. If he loses to the guy from Omaha, Nebraska that they call Bud. No wonder Crawford's over there smiling, you know what I'm saying? Anyway, give Crawford a chance, man. He's been fighting bigger fighters, been lifting weights, running them hills, and I just think the weight class is fooling a lot of people. I think some people think it's going to be easy. Some people think it's going to be hard for Crawford. I just think Crawford's not coming to survive, and I do think Crawford really does believe that he's going to, at some point in the fight, be able to make the kind of adjustments to where he can dominate. Now, will he? I don't know, because it looks like Crawford may come in there a bit more muscular than we used to seeing him. And I'm just going to tell you, experts say that there's a way you can put on muscle without sacrificing speed. And I think one of the things Crawford's going to need is definitely speed. You know what I'm saying? If getting there with Canelo. I understand he's sparring with super middleweights and light heavies to prepare him for Canelo's power. Crawford already said he's been hit hard before. But I just think Crawford has to make sure he crosses all T's and dot all I's, because when he gets in there, man, with a guy like Canelo, where Crawford didn't ask for rehydration clauses, no catch weights, nothing. He just really wants Canelo at full strength. No excuses, no clauses, just war. Well, Crawford's going to get what he asked for, and I'm telling you right now, that shit ain't going to be easy. Canelo is a beast. But anyway, the first 3 rounds, I really think you're going to see, as far as Crawford trying to beat Canelo, and this is me just looking at Crawford over his career. The first 3 rounds, I really see Crawford using movement, a lot of feints. I think the jab for sure to try to disrupt Canelo's rhythm, because Canelo's going to be coming at him, probably be throwing that looping right hand, trying to land something. Don't know how much Crawford's going to be able to do that in an 18-by-18 ring, but I know the first 3 rounds, Canelo's very dangerous, and so is Crawford. But also, Crawford has all his energy and conditioning, and so does Canelo. But outside them first 3 rounds, I think it could get a little different. But the first 3 rounds, Crawford should be able to use his movement, use his feints, use that jab to disrupt Canelo. I think round 4 to 6, you start seeing Crawford, mixing in body shots, using more angles, really forcing Canelo to reset. I think 7 through 9, you're going to see Crawford increase his volume of punches. I think you're going to see Canelo slow down, and this is where Crawford's going to look to exploit the fatigue. And you could see Crawford starting to take control to where the crowd starts to get into it, the commentators start commenting, Eddie Reynoso shouts in the corner, ¿Qué pasó aquí? Viva Mexico, cabrón. And that may not be enough because after round 7 through 9, 10 through 12, you're going to see Crawford. If Canelo really slowing down, Crawford may be going for the finish if the opportunity is there. And everybody going to be falling off their seats in the couches, standing up in the stadium or in the arena. Everybody going to lose their effing minds. Everybody going to lose their effing minds, man. Because even if he doesn't knock him out, Crawford, if he's still standing, I'm telling you, the later round, it's going to be Crawford trying to dominate the final rounds to make sure that he locks in that decision. And I'm telling you, he's gonna upset the world. All 17 years of his career is waiting to get some credit. And he's finally gonna get it against the face of boxing. And then Crawford's out of here. Crawford is out of here. And he will be on the Mount Rushmore of boxing. But the funny thing is people still find a way to discredit Terrence Crawford. And that's just crazy to me. But anyway, man, Sugar Ray Leonard, Ali, and you just look at what Crawford's done in his past. I mean, there's legacy on the line here, you know. And Crawford understands if he wins, he becomes the first male fighter in the history of boxing to become undisputed in 3 weight classes. Okay, 1 second. To become undisputed in 3 weight classes, man. Some people say, well, that would just show his greatness. No, that shit would show immortality. That's like Manny Pacquiao being an 8-weight division champion. That shit is immortality. You just don't see nobody coming and doing that. You know what I mean? That's crazy. Stars got to line up for somebody to become a 3-time undisputed. Stars got to line up. And I just don't know when it would ever line up again. But the one thing I like about Crawford is he ain't chasing money. This man is really chasing legacy. And he's doing it the hard way. He's doing it on enemy turf against a bigger man, and there's not going to be no safety net. Now, of course, I think Crawford's the A side in the fight because he's Turkey's boy. But Las Vegas, that ain't pro Crawford. That shit is pro Canelo. You know what I mean? It's Las Vegas, kind of West Coast. It's a whole lot of Mexicans out there. And Crawford going to have his supporters, but I'm telling you, he going to feel that shit when he get out there. When they be out shouting, Canelo. Just the impact from them exhaling as they push out those strong Canelo. That shit's gonna push Crawford across the stage. I just hope he's prepared for that, man. Anyway, I just can't wait to see the ring walk. I can't wait to see the lights flashing. Can't wait to see who's gonna walk out Canelo, who's gonna walk out Crawford. I just think when you talk about 2 years of study, a lifetime of preparation, I just think on 13 September, Terrence Crawford, man, he steps into the fire. But he's not stepping into the fire to survive like Jermell Charlo. He's actually stepping into the fire to conquer Canelo and become a 3-time undisputed. Anyway, y'all keep cool. Crawford treating Canelo like Earl Spence. Studied him, man. Him and his team, he got the right outfit. They're going to be prepared. So let's sit back and see how it unfolds. But I still think Canelo should kind of be the favorite. But I'm kind of picking Crawford. I want to pick Crawford kind of for the upset. The only thing is that 18 by 18 ring. If that's the case, which I think it is, well, that's going to add another layer of complexity to this. But bottom line is, man, Crawford and his team know what they're doing. And it just looks like Crawford, to me, has the upper hand so far. Y'all keep cool. In the breeze.